So, what's inspired you to become a teacher in English?
Every day is a learning day for me.
Mhm. What's the major problems you face and that you overcome time to time? Do you want to share with us?
Okay, just be patient with yourself and with the students. Time will
Mhm.
come. With
Mhm.
time, you'll be able to improve yourself.
Hello, guys. This is me, Abu Bakar. Once again, I'm here with a new interview with my new friend from the USA, Rosendo. How are you, Rosendo?
I'm good. It's 10 a.m. here in Kingman, Arizona in particular.
Okay, so what's going on in your life? Tell me about your background and what's you doing nowadays.
Well, I'm currently teaching at Kingman Middle School, teaching English language arts to seventh graders. And I'm actually preparing a project, a community project focused on reading, because it's actually one of the most important skills that they need to develop, since we have this what we call state testing, where any students are to pass that test in order for them to move to another level.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you. Writing is really essential if you wanna focus on the writing. Initial says can solve this problem. I face a lot of issues with the writing. Sometimes I didn't, you know, write in the perfect spelling. So this is my huge problem. I suffering with the I think from last 4 or 5 years continuously. So definitely during the questions I will ask you these questions. How can I overcome my problem with the writing? Okay, let's come to start from the first questions. So what's inspired you to become a teacher in English?
Yeah, of course, teaching in the US has been my childhood dream. It's really my childhood dream. Actually, it's actually the dream of my late grandfather. And so I just realized that one of the biggest dreams of him, I've heard a lot of while growing up, I heard a lot of good things about US life. And so because of that, this is first world country. So it's a dream country of most Asians, including Filipinos from the Philippines. So having heard that so many good things about living here in the US, I've also started to dream to be able to come here in the US. And through my profession, teaching or as a teacher, I was able to have that as a ticket to realize that dream of mine. So when I had the chance to apply for a teaching position here, I gave it my best. And then after my online, interview with my current principal, and some of her staff. There were like five of them sitting, conducting the interview with me. So I was lucky to be hired right away. So I was, in a cloud nine during that time. And because of this opportunity, I believe I have started to really grow even further as an educator and experience new environment. That's actually one of my purposes why I really fought for that dream to be realized, to share my skills while learning from a different education system. Learning new culture is one of my bucket list as a professional. Mm.
That's amazing. From the
Yeah.
early ages, you set a goal to become an English teacher in USA. So a lot of struggles you face, and finally you achieved that. So what's the biggest difference you face between the Filipino schools students or in the USA? So what's the major difference?
Well, you know what, Abu? One major difference is how students communicate with their teachers. Now, in the Philippines, as a Filipino teacher in the Philippines for more than 15 years, students are actually, I could say, based on experience, are more reserved. If they're upset or angry about something, they usually still follow through, with what the teacher asks, because they have this high regard, out of respect. I'm not saying that American students are, you know, but I must say that Filipinos are very respectful in a way that when they approach their teacher, they all have this what we call po and opo. Okay. And they're so generally they're passive, in terms of their behavior or approach with even when they approach the teachers. When they have problems, when they succeeded in a particular academic battle, they would always find time to, to celebrate small wins, not only the big victories. And these Filipinos often hide their feelings or wait for a private moment to explain themselves, unlike here in the US. In the school where I'm teaching now, just some of them, but generally students here in the place where I teach are more direct. They don't hesitate to voice their concerns right away. So because of that, it took some adjustment on my part for me, but I've come to appreciate the openness. There's always beauty in being so open. So I've come to learn that to love the culture. This is already my second school year in the US, so it was hard. Last year was the hardest part of my teaching position here, but because of this is already the second year, I've learned already some of the things that I need to do, how to address these concerns that I face each day as a classroom teacher. So yeah, it's exciting to be living and teaching in a different country with different culture. Another thing, Abu, it's common to call teachers in the Philippines sir or ma'am or madam. That's the way students address their teachers in the Philippines. They would Sir Bernabe or Madam Ondalasco, or as the case may be. But here in the US, students use our last names. So they call me Mr. Bernabe or Mr. B or Miss Austin if that's the last name of the female teacher. And it's a small difference, as others would say or might think, but it reflects the more casual nature of the student-teacher relationship here in the US.
I got it, your point. I totally agree with you on this point. I face a lot of teachers from different countries, especially from the US and from Brazil, the same region. So they have that ability. When the student says sir or teacher, something like that, so they say, don't say like that. Just call me with my name. And we attend a lot of meeting with the big John. Sometimes we call a sir, something like that. We say, call me a John or big John, something like that. If you call for someone or use a name like a sir or something like that, so that time you are a little bit nervous. You feel a little bit nervous. If you call to someone with the name, so that time you are more comfortable to talk with them. So now this is my habit when I interact with anyone and conduct an interview or during the conversation, especially on Zoom meeting, directly I call him with the name, with the first name, sometimes in second name. That's amazing thing.
Yeah. So I feel awkward during that time. The first time I was actually called by one of my students, Bernabe. Bernabe is my last name, without even connecting the word Mr. or Miss. Yeah, so I feel like I don't feel comfortable being called only by my last name or by my last name. I could accept it if they would actually touch the title Mr., right? So I trained my students, to telling them that I would rather be called Mr. Bernabe than just simply call me Bernabe, because I don't really feel comfortable. It's a good thing that they actually, address me the way I want to be addressed by them. Yeah. So there's a little bit about the Filipino culture in such a way as I treat them.
Yeah, if I talk about my country, so definitely it's impossible for the student to call with the name. For the teacher, they use this name. It's impossible. You can't use a name all the time. Just call the sir or teacher, something like that. So that's a sort of talk with the teacher here in Pakistan. It's definitely use a Mr. or something like that. I totally agree with you. In Asia, sometimes we follow the culture so closely. So that's really amazing. Well, so move to our next question. So my next question is, what is the biggest difference between the Filipino or the US culture? In instances, definitely everyone, they are facing issues or they are not intact with the new cultures easily. Yeah, language is another thing. But when you interact with the peoples, celebrate some birthday or Christmas, some events or some seminars, so that time you are more connect with another culture. So what do you think? How much difficult for you? You're more close with the American.
Here in the Philippines, we have this celebration in the Philippines during birthday celebrations are, to me, more extravagant because, especially in my end, speaking on my and the celebration that we have or that we used to have when I was in the Philippines with my family, we really prepare food. I always look for a rice here because that's the main food that we have during celebration in the Philippines. We don't have in the US when the celebrator or the celebrant is actually a local, an American, Native American or American or a local here, a resident here. Uh, I don't know. It was weird. The first time I attended a birthday of of an American teacher here, there was no rice. So I'm kind of, you know, uh, sad just because most of the food that they put on table that they prepare are actually bread and some kind of meat that they love like bacon and then ice cream. Unlike the Philippines, of course, it's nostalgic because I always look for food that we used to have in the Philippines. So that's actually the one of the biggest differences in terms of birthday celebrate foods that are prepared on table during celebrations or special events like birthday. But another difference you know that I really needed to adjust during my first year was the way the English language itself is spoken by them because English is my second language. So I only learned English mostly through textbooks. So my English is actually, if I may say, a textbook English because I learned English most of the time through textbooks in English. So the first time I came here in the US and approached a local here and asked him how he actually assessed or evaluate how could he evaluate my level of speaking skill in terms of the use of the English language. He told me that I sounded too formal, and that's actually because my English is a textbook English one. So I really need to find a way to adapt to the way the English words or English language is spoken here. So I've learned to, with the passage of time, I've learned to say the word like mountain in the Philippines. I could now say mountain or mountain. Okay, so that's actually one of the struggles that I had. I thought I was already good enough to survive in my communication with the locals here, but no, it's still a learning in progress.
Mm.
It's always a learning in progress. So
Yeah.
I learn every day. Every day is a learning day for me.
Mhm. During the
Yeah.
conversation, you don't have a time to take a time or understand your opponent or your partner conversation. After that, you directly reply on the spot. So that was amazing experience for you because at the time you grow up and you understand everything, and you face a lot of issues. Definitely, time to time you grow up and you handle that issues. Okay, let's move to another question. So the next
Okay.
question is like how you help your student, especially when they are facing some issues during the writing. And this is my question also because I'm suffering with from last 4 or 5 years continuously. I don't solve these issues. When I talk with someone, so that times I'm so much comfortable, or someone say just complete this essay for me on writing. So that time I face issues because I don't complete or essay in the perfect timing because every time I do my spelling or sometimes I'm correct and sometimes wrong for me.
Correct.
So what's your advice for your students? How they overcome problems, especially when they're facing the writing?
Actually, what you just said are the same thing. They are also being experienced by my students, even they're already native speakers or Filipino students learning English. And when they write, I learned that a lot of anxiety comes from the fear of being judged or not knowing
Mm.
the right spelling. Even the locals here, my middle schoolers here are knowing that they're already English speakers themselves, still they struggle with the grammar, you know. They know themselves that they are not good in terms of their grammatical competence. So what I do is to try to create always find a way to create a relaxed atmosphere where they don't feel judged. I always remind them that it's okay to be committing errors or mistakes while doing the writing assignments. It's okay to make mistakes. It's just that they need to focus on just getting their ideas down first and do not worry too much about perfection. There's no such thing as perfection. You know, I always emphasize that the reason why they write is because this is one of the valuable things that we need to develop as they grow older. So that in preparation for their future, because writing, when you are a good writer, you can go places, you know, and you can be, you know, famous if you want to. But even though that's a basic skill, basic but necessary skill in order for you to become someone in the community, you will be an effective and what do you call this one? The right ways for that is that you are more confident. You feel more confidence in you. There's more confidence in you when you know that you can express your thoughts not only speaking but through writing. You know, just like the students here in the US, I've learned that being, you know, upfront help them, you know, to become more thriving in all aspects of their lives. So writing is just really one of the things that I actually give importance in my instructions.
Mhm.
So
Okay, I got it on point. Yeah, it's a really essential during the exam when you were writing essay, something like
yeah,
that.
in their state test,
Yeah,
in their state test,
exactly. And
yeah,
in a normal life, I think it's not too much compulsory or so much essentials because directly we are talking with the people of conversation or in meetings. At that time, you perform face to face. That is more essential. Okay, so what did you learn from research on writing, especially on anxiety?
yeah. As I have made mention, based on my research on writing anxiety, which is actually the focus of my research during my master's and PhD degrees, the common problem or anxiety towards writing that these students usually in face is, you know, the fear of being judged when they commit errors in spelling and problem in coherence, cohesion, you know, those elements. So that's actually what may make them anxious or scared or passive when it comes to writing assignments using the English language. So uh, there was this what we call what do you call this one? Mm, Writing competence or reduction strategy, anxiety reduction and reduction strategy that I proposed during that time when I was in the Philippines, which I applied now here, which is, you know, the past positive affirmation. I always tell them to keep telling themselves silently, or they could also verbalize it or in a very loud manner to say, I can do it. I am a good writer. I know that I'm not alone. I can do it. So that's actually one of the best things that we need to inculcate in the minds of our students so that they would survive any kind of writing assignments or writing activities that they would have in their English language classroom. When I actually give them a writing assignment or task,
Hmm.
I would always ask everyone to recite that positive affirmation. I can write well, I can do well. I'm the best. I'm one of the best student writers here in this classroom. So it's that kind of pattern of thought, you know. It's conditioning, mind conditioning, and
Hmm.
it's a 1 minute recital every writing activity that I give them.
So, what is your best or writing lesson fun for your student?
They love writing something about that is relatable to them, just like their favorite movies. I would always connect it to real life situations, to what actually interests them, so that in a way they would become excited to express themselves, even though behind their minds actually have this kind of anxiety in terms of, you know, they might misspell some of the words, but I always emphasize to them that it's just but secondary. What is more important to me is that they're able to communicate themselves through writing, and that with what I give as the highest points. Okay.
Amazing. I got it, your point. So, how did winning the Outstanding Teacher Awards change how you see teaching?
Well, it made me realize the impact I've had on my students and the community in general. So, but more than the recognition I received, which is being one of the outstanding teachers in the region, it reminded me that teaching is about constant learning and growth. It pushed me to keep improving, to stay humble, knowing there's always more to learn, and that learning is a continuous process. It's a lifelong journey. We learn every day. So there are things that you don't know that others know, then you learn from them, and there are things that you can see that others can see. So it's a learning for all of us.
Well, during
So there's
the
always
Mhm.
a
As
window of learning, a room for learning.
Yeah, exactly. So, what's your major activities during the school life, especially as a teacher? So, what's your major activities with the students you enjoy a lot of?
Yeah, of course. I'm sorry. I love how curious and energetic middle schoolers are in my school. They are at stage, I must say, where they're figuring out who they are, and it's exciting to guide them through the process, especially when it comes to expressing themselves through writing and language in general. Plus, I enjoy how open and direct they are. It makes the classroom discussion wild but lively and academically engaging. There are through that I'm able to learn family background, and unconsciously they're able to give some information about their family, and I'm through that baseline that I get from them, I know how to attack whenever they're actually being, sad, or they are struggling, or they're having some concerns. So I kind of learn how to weigh things in and out, you know.
So, what do you think? How much English is difficult as a second language, and then you become a teacher in your second language? How much difficult for you to perform your acts morning to evening as a teacher in the school? Because English is your second language, not is your first language.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how do you handle all these struggles or all these problems or issues when you start your journey as a teacher in the second language, not just your first language? So that was so much difficult. So, what's the major problems you face and that you overcome time to time? Did you want to share with us?
Well, actually, one of the major problems I encounter as a second language user of the English language here in the US, where English is their first language, is that really it's all about the accent and choice of words that I used to have in the Philippines as a language teacher in the Philippines. Of course, my students are exposed to textbook English, and so am I. So I was able to carry that kind of format of teaching or approach from the Philippines here, which is not supposed to be, which is not applicable here, because the students' are language is full of slang, and they actually are having difficulty understanding me because of too much expectation that I had for them, like, you know, oh, they actually this kind of thing, like, oh, they would understand me easily because it's their native language. But no, it's not, because there are words in English which we know in the Philippines are common, but to them it's still foreign, totally foreign to them, knowing that the words you are using in your teaching are already English words, but that expectation is too much. So they would rather listen to a teacher who is good at slang, because to them it's more understandable or more comprehensible to them. So I really need to learn the slang way of this younger generation here in the US.
Mhm. Well, one thing I
So
focus for a long time when I'm watching the US movies or the English movies, especially from the US, they are most of the time they focus on the slang words. That was a little bit
Hmm.
tough for those people. They are not too much intact with the English language. If you are beginner in English language, so that is so much tough for you to understand every slang words or idiom especially because
Exactly.
In Asia, we didn't have that, and even the school level or college level, teacher never focus on these kind of a new or so much tough slang words. During the meetings, one time, Big John said, "You are fishing for the word all the time. Just speak up." So I was confused. What's mean that? When the meeting was finished, and I asked Big John, "What's the meaning of the fishing for the word?" He said,
Right.
"All the time, you take a time for the conversation. Someone asks you questions, you take a few minutes, and after that you speak up. And during the conversation, most of the time, you take a time, and so you are searching for the word. So that's why I say you are fishing for the word."
Exactly. So it's like everyday struggle here, because this is just my second year. And really, in order for you to become a more effective teacher, you really need to embrace
So this
the
is
way they sound, the way
Mhm.
they use their language. You cannot force you cannot force them to really understand you because they cannot really understand you if you pronounce in the words in English word for word.
Mhm.
Because their language is spoken in a connected manner, like with full of reductions, and that's actually what they want,
Mhm.
most of them.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
So how long you have been in the Arizona, US?
I just turned 1 year in July
Mm,
2024.
mm.
So July, August, September, October. So 10 months. I'm
Okay,
sorry,
just
1 year and 3 months to be exact.
okay, 1 into 3 months, almost
1 year, 3 months.
2023 to visit to US.
Yeah. Mm,
Mm. So
yeah.
I think as an English teacher that was so tough for you because all the students was there are fluent English and native speaker.
Mhm.
So how you teach them? Because English is like English grammar is they learn from the family, from parents directly, because we never learn our native language grammar because automatically we adopt that.
Well, I believe I survived the first school year of mine. So it
Mm.
was hard. What was hard last year in my first school year was, as I've said, they speak so fast in the sense that they connect
Connect the
new two
word with each
words
other.
as connecting,
Exactly.
making it sound like one word. So it's a
Hmm.
good thing that I was able to, little by little, precept by precept, have adapted the way they're actually using their language, and it's a good thing to hear from them. Oh, Mr. Guanebe, you speak like us already. So it's accomplishment. So there are actually very students who are, they're very direct. If you're doing not that good enough, they would also tell you directly. So that's a good thing about it. And now I have already experienced hearing some good observations from my students in terms of the way they speak the language, which is far different now than last year. They told me, so it's a good thing that I'm learning from them.
That's amazing. Well,
Immersion.
what's your advice for the new teachers and especially for the new English learner also?
Okay, just be patient with
Mm,
yourself and with the students. Time will
mm,
come. With
mm,
time, you'll be able to improve yourself. And there's nothing to worry about for as long as you're doing your best. You have this self-confidence that you will be able to thrive and be able to find ways to address the concerns of your students. And there's always this what we call, you always find time to celebrate small wins. You don't have to be very hard on yourself. New teachers should not be very, very, uh, they should not be looking for perfection all the time because it will just then leave them burnt out on a day. As long as they are able to establish a SMART goal, SMART, the acronym is SMART, specific, measurable goals, then they would survive whatever, no matter how challenging teaching is in a different culture, in a different country.
You know,
So fine.
I totally agree with you. When you want to achieve something in your life, definitely you must have to pay your time,
Correct.
your struggle.
Correct. Treat yourself
And
with drink.
I receive a lot of messages from different peoples, from different regions. They say how we become fluent in English, like you. I say I'm not good in English. Just try to speak up with the foreigner or something like that. Conduct interview, sometime attend the Zoom meeting. That is my struggle. And from last continuously 1 year, I never miss any single day I am talking with someone in English. Because in our local environment, I never face someone, they talk with me face to face in English. That's all my struggles online through Zoom, sometime in WhatsApp, or sometime in Facebook groups. A lot of groups was there, and we communicate with each other on voice calls, sometime in text messages. That's it. So, for the
Yeah.
learning every new
Okay, in
skills, you
addition,
must have to be struggle.
correct. Because it's a new skill. That's why
Exactly.
it's considered new because it's new because it's really new. So it's just but normal to struggle, at the beginning. So, but the key to really achieve your goal to become better at something is to stay curious and keep practicing, whether it's through reading, writing, or speaking. And most importantly, have fun. Have fun. Always find something that is interesting. Because if you're not interested in the things that you don't do, that you read, you'll not grow.
Yeah,
There
make
must be
make
should
interesting
always be
yourself.
something fun.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much, Rosendo from
Thank you.
USA, Arizona. You give me a chance to conduct interview with you, and you share with your experience, how you become a teacher and come to USA. And as a teacher, you have a lot of responsibilities, definitely. And I really appreciate you. You give me a chance to conduct an interview with me, and for our viewers, definitely they will learn a lot of things from these interviews. And thank you so much once again.
Actually, this is a big leap already on your part, Abu, to really polish or improve your English, my English, everyone's English watching us. This interview, session is a very good strategy to develop our communication skill using the English language, which is actually a target language. So it's a matter of immersing ourselves more on the target language of yours. You make an
Exactly.
immersive environment for you. No one could help you, and you're the
Exactly.
best tool who could help you achieve your
Exactly.
goal. Oh,
Exactly. I totally
yeah,
agree with you. Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
of
Bye bye.
course,
Bye bye from
no
my side.
problem. Yeah,
Bye
have a
bye.
good day.
Yeah. See you.